guys, welcome back. All right, so it says Caitlin wants to walk the shortest distance to get to the beach to the parking lot. Okay, so this is called our geometric mean, and we usually like to call that x. And sometimes we have to solve for it first to solve other stuff. So let's take a look. How far will her place on the beach be from the refreshment stand? So that's actually asking for this one. So we might need to solve this one first. How far is her spot on the beach from the parking lot? So that's our geometric mean, isn't it? So usually we like to solve that one first. We also think of it as our altitude. Okay, so I'm going to, get the baby here, right? And highlight the teen and use my strategy. But I think I actually need another strategy. I'm not sure which side is least or greatest. Okay, so I'm gonna actually redraw the picture to try to make sure that I can find the corresponding sides. Okay, so I redrew the picture here. I have X here, 45 here, and 60 here. Okay, so now when I look at the baby, it seems obvious. I know the medium side and the hypotenuse. The medium side is X, the hypotenuse is 45. When I look at the teen, I don't know the medium side. So I can't set this up in corresponding. I could try medium and hypotenuse. And then I try to go over here and go medium hypotenuse, and I don't know that, medium hypotenuse. Notice how that didn't work. So it doesn't work. You need another strategy. So the clue here is you actually should be able to figure out mom's hypotenuse. Notice mom, 2 of the 3 sides. So you can solve for her hypotenuse. Okay. So, and I saw quite a few people off to the side do that. So we know mom is 45, 60, and we're gonna solve for her hypotenuse. So 45 plus 45 squared plus 60 squared should equal her hypotenuse squared. So I get 5625 is my hypotenuse squared. Interesting. So if I take the square root of both sides, I get 75 for my hypotenuse. Some people put that as their answer. Not quite, because they didn't ask for the distance between here to there. Okay, but that you're well on your way if you can get that part. Okay, so now I can set up the what I was trying to set up before. So here on my baby, I don't know the small side, but I know medium is X and hypotenuse is 45. Okay, now on the mom, I know the medium is 60 and the hypotenuse is 75. So notice I have set it up with corresponding sides. And I can transfer this down here to set it up and solve. Okay, so X over 60 is equal to 45 over 75, and X is what I'm solving for in part B. Okay, so if I cross multiply, and then divide by 75 on both sides. $36. Cool. Okay, so X is 36. So we've done it. We've solved the mystery of the X. We know X is 36. Now, we can go back and say, how far is her place on the beach to the refreshment stand? From the beach to the refreshment stand. Notice that's something we can solve for using Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so this I guess we would call Y. And we could set up ratios here, but actually most students probably just do Pythagorean theorem because we know 2 of the 3 sides. So, right, we know the hypotenuse is 60, this is 36, and that's Y. So we just have to be careful setting this up. So the short side's 36, this is B, the Y, and the hypotenuse is 60. Okay. when I take the square root of both sides, I get a surprise here. My answer is actually just a plain old number, 48. So if I go back to the problem, would 48 fit here? And it would. 48 is between 36 and 60. Cool. Okay, let's check out the next one. Ooh, but they kind of threw a little, not big, but a little curveball here. I can set this up side, bottom, but I need to know this side. So I'm hoping you'll figure out if the whole thing's 24, then this must be 18. And now I don't need that part. Okay, so that was just a little curveball. See if you're paying attention. Okay, that's 18, and that must be 6 because the whole thing's 24. Now let's set this up and solve. So these are side splitters. This over this has to equal this over this. So let's set that up to the side. This over this has to equal this over this. Okay, so let's keep going. We've got to distribute these. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Makes more sense to move the 6 x's than the 18. Then it makes sense of trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to have to move this over to this other side. And last, I'm going to divide both sides by 12. I get 8. Interesting, right? Well, let's see if 8 is actually the right answer. So if I plug in 8 here, I get, what would that be? That'd be 30 over 10. Is 30 over 10 equal to 18 over 6? Yeah, 30 over 10 is 3. 18 over 6 is 3. I know I got the right answer. Good job, guys. Okay. This one sets up just like side splitters, but you need to turn it, right? If a skier skied down a mountain and cut that angle in half, these two would make the same ratio with this one. This over this is equal to this over this. Okay, let's set that up. 11.1 over 6.1 is equal to x over 5.8. So let's cross multiply to solve. 6.1 times x is equal to 11.1 times 5.8. Okay. All right, and we get 10 point, it says round to the nearest 10, so I'd round that up to 10.6. Okay, let's take a look at the last page. If you're interested in retaking this last objective, let's start with the easiest one first. We've been practicing. This is just A and B, and we're solving for the hypotenuse, right? So we get h is equal to the square root of 20. Final answer. Could we make that simpler? Well, you should. For some bonus, notice there is a 4 in there. I could rewrite this, square root of 4 times the square root of 5, because that is the square root of 20. And the square root of 4 is actually 2. So for 5 extra bonus points, if you wrote this instead of that, good. Now, if you turn it into a decimal, that's okay too, no bonus, and that's good to do just to see if your answer made sense. So it's about 4.5, and if I plug that in, 4.5 is bigger than these other two, so that makes sense. That's a good answer. Okay, next one. it looks the same, but it's actually different. This is A, that's B, and this is my hypotenuse. So I got to set this up. A squared plus B squared is the hypotenuse squared. So 81. 289. Okay, makes sense. So let's take the square root of both sides. And we get, this is our final answer. Let's see if this is reasonable. So the square root of 208 is about 14.4. So if I plug this back in, I'm expecting a number less than that. So that's good. Okay. Now, could I try for bonus? I noticed there is a 4 in there, right? So, or at least an even number. So I'm going to try if there's a 4 in there. Divide by 4. Ooh, 52. I'm going to do it again. Divide by 4. Ooh, 13. So this has a 16 in it. A 4 and a 4 makes 16. So let's try that. 208 divided by 16 is 13. Yep, so we can rewrite this. The square root of 16 times the square root of 13 is the same thing as that. Because 16 times 13 is 208. Now, we can rewrite the square root of 16 as the number 4. So this would have gotten you bonus. Like 5 more bonus points. Okay. So, last one. Now this one's even trickier a little bit. Notice that's 45. So we know this would have to be 45. So where's the trick? It says find the missing side, but I don't know A or B. I just know my hypotenuse. So we have to make X what we don't know, but we actually know, since these angles are equal, that both sides are actually equal. So A squared plus B squared is C squared, right? But A squared is X. And B is X, so that would just be another X. And the C is our hypotenuse, right? That'd be 22 squared. Okay, so on this side, I have 2x squareds. And other side, 484, right? So let's get X by itself on one side. We'll get rid of that 2. All right, and so we'll get this. And let's see if we can write that simpler, but let's just double check that's even reasonable. So when we take the square root of it, we get about 15.6. So that sounds about right, 15.6, 15.6, and 22 is supposed to be bigger. Okay. Now, I actually said on the other video, I think there's 11 times 11 is in there. It's half of the hypotenuse. So 242 has an 11 in it. Yep. And another 11. Divide by 11. Yep. It's got 2 11s in it. So what is 2 11s? 11 times 11 is 121. So 242 divided by 2 is 121. I can rewrite 242 as the square root of 121 times the square root of 2. That's the same as this. This can be rewritten 11. So this would have been some bonus. And we all need a little bonus in our life, don't we? Thanks for joining us.